The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gooden, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to start by thanking you all for being here, and thank you, Mr. Scharf. The last time I had a Wells Fargo CEO come before here, it didn't go well, and you've done a tremendous job with your institution. I want to congratulate you, so thank you. I had some follow-up to a lot of the conversations we had on China earlier today. I'll start with you, Ms. Fraser. Citi's former global head of corporate and investment banking praised the Chinese Communist Party's Belt and Road Initiative. In fact, he said, quote, "Citi's strategy is directly associated with 32 of the 69 countries, which is more than any other global institution or any other financial institution, and Citi should play a leading role in this Belt and Road Initiative," end quote. It's my belief that the Chinese Communist Party uses this initiative to give unfair advantages to Chinese companies and forces developing countries into debt traps, often with public corruption paving the way. I witnessed this on a trip to the Middle East with my great chairwoman, Maxine Waters, where we were told of extreme corruption that the Chinese companies have been involved in across the African continent. And by participating in the Belt and Road Initiative, you are supporting significant risks to our national security and global economy. Ms. Fraser, Citi's support of the Belt and Road Initiative presents a serious conflict of interest. By helping our strongest adversary expand across the globe, do you understand Citi's support of the Belt and Road Initiative is directly opposed to the national security interests of the United States?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to answer the question. I do not believe, certainly since I took over as CEO, but I don't believe before that either, that we have played a meaningful role, if any role, in the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative.
Well, that is wonderful to hear, and if that has changed, I celebrate that. But that was, I believe, recently that the head of corporate governance said that, corporate strategy. With respect to Russia, I'll continue with you, Ms. Fraser. You stated recently that you want Citi to be a bank with a soul. Would you explain to me, or justify perhaps, how financing Russian oil and gas giant Lukoil while pledging to reduce financing for American energy producers accomplishes that goal?
So as we've talked about, we have already in a short period of time materially reduced our activities in Russia. We're winding down our consumer franchise there and commercial banking franchise as we speak. And have been doing similarly with our corporate franchise. What we're primarily doing is supporting the multinationals that are still operating in Russia and helping them with, in large part with their exit and wind down on the ground.
So will you commit today to divest from Russian oil and gas giant Lukoil, which is funding this invasion of Ukraine?
I cannot imagine that we would have a meaningful role with them going forward.
Thank you. Mr. Moynihan, do you support a free and democratic Taiwan, and does your bank as well?
Yes, it's
Mr. Diamond, do you all share those views as well, a free and democratic Taiwan?
I support freedom and democracy everywhere. I'm not going to specifically comment on Taiwan. That's up to the United States government to make that kind of statement.
Well, many of you, some of you rather, struggled earlier today to condemn the ongoing human rights abuses in China of the Uyghurs. The Department of State, the United Nations, human rights organizations, and the like have condemned China's actions. Will Citibank condemn the ongoing human rights abuses in China at the hands of the Chinese Communist Party?
We certainly take any of the accusations of human rights abuses wherever they are in the world very seriously, and will be vocal in our distress at them occurring.
So will you condemn the ongoing human rights abuses in China at the hands of the Chinese Communist Party?
Condemn is a very strong word.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So is genocide and slavery.
Yes. We certainly are very distressed to see it going on, and we do not want to have human rights abuses happening anywhere in the world where we or anyone else operate.
Well, thank you. I would encourage all of you to get out of doing business with Russia and be very careful in China, because they are working very strongly against our nation. And some of the answers earlier, and the hesitancy to offend the Chinese when many of your organizations are so willing to come down to Washington and insert yourself into politics, yet you seem hesitant to condemn things as simple as slavery and genocide is alarming to me. But thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr.